All right, in this video, what I'm going to be showing you is how to find the quadratic discriminant. So right here, ax squared plus bx plus c, that is a quadratic because our highest term is an exponent of 2. So what we're dealing with here is quadratics. This is an example. This is an example. I'm going to show you how to find the discriminant, and I'll also talk to you about what it means with what we find. Okay, so first and foremost, what is the discriminant? Right there. So this is the quadratic equation, quadratic formula, okay? And the information underneath your square root in the quadratic formula, that's the discriminant. So b squared minus 4ac. So you want to take your b term, square it, subtract 4 times a times c, whatever those values are. Okay, so what you need to first be able to do is determine what is your a term, what's your b term, what's your c term. Okay, it's quite simple once you lay it out. So right now, both of these are written in what's called standard form, the highest exponent, and then in descending order, 2, 1, and none. So we want to have highest exponent first, then we drop our way down. Okay, both of these are set up, they're ready to go, meaning this is your A, this is your B, and this is your C. Same idea over here. The term with the exponent of 2 is the A. The term with the exponent of 1 is the B, and the constant is the C. Okay, so once we know that information, we just want to plug the value or the coefficient in front of the variable. So in this case, 8. 8 is my A. So I'm going to put an 8 right there in the discriminant next to the 4. Meaning I'm going to need to multiply negative 4 times 8 times my C, which in this case is a negative 1. Okay, so what I like to do, what I encourage my students to do is this. Take the discriminant and put empty parentheses. Empty parentheses squared minus 4 times 2 empty parentheses. So if you look at this right here, it's supposed to match up with what's circled in pink. Something squared, that something needs to be my B term. Look up here and take your time. This is supposed to be a B. My B is negative 2. So I'm going to have to take negative 2 and I'm going to have to square it. Negative 4 times A times C. My A is an 8. My C is a negative 1. Okay, now just take your time. You can plug this into a calculator, let the calculator do the work. I'm a big fan of if you can do things mentally, do them mentally. Negative 2 squared, which just means negative 2 times negative 2. 2 negatives turn into a positive. Sweet. Negative 4 times positive 8 times negative 1. A negative times a positive comes out to a negative. Then we multiply by another negative. So 2 negatives make a positive when being multiplied. Okay, 8 times 4, so we're going to get a positive result. 8 times 4 is 32, times another 1 would just stay 32. So we're going to say plus 32. Combine your two terms together. These are like terms, so I can put 4 plus 32 and get a grand total of 36. So this is a positive result for my discriminant. What that tells me is I'm going to have 2 roots or 2 solutions to the quadratic. Okay? Positive discriminants tell us we're going to have 2 roots. This one here is going to come out as a negative value for its discriminant. What that will mean is that it will have no solutions or no roots. Okay? Let's see how that works out. What number is in front of this variable? It's a 1. Okay? For those of you that don't know, if you have a term like this and we don't have a number shown, it's an invisible 1. I tell my students to write it down so they don't forget it's there. So we got a 1, a 2, and a 6, all of which are positive. So I'm going to plug all that information into this. So instead of b squared, I'm going to put empty parentheses squared minus 4 times an empty set of parentheses times another empty set of parentheses. B squared minus 4ac. By the way, you should memorize the discriminant. Memorize, memorize, memorize. You actually want to memorize the whole formula, the whole quadratic formula, but specifically what's inside that square roots. That's super important. Okay, so b squared, I look here and I say, what's my b term? It's a 2. Negative 4 times a times c. Negative 4 times A times C. If you need to go back and forth between your notes and this, do what you got to do to be successful. Okay, so negative 4 times A, my A is a 1. My C is a 6. So now I'm going to say 2 squared, which is just 4. A negative times a positive is a negative. And then that negative times another positive remains a negative. Okay, so negative 4 times 1, negative 4. Negative 4 times 6 is going to be negative 24. 4 minus 24, combine like terms to get negative 20. So my final result here is negative 20. My discriminant in this case is a negative. And what I just told you is if it's a positive, you're going to have 2 solutions or 2 roots. But in this case over here, it's a negative, meaning you will have no solutions or no roots. All right, this is the basics, the first thing that you're going to start to be taught once you get introduced to quadratics. Know that quadratics are not the easiest thing in the world, but the more and more you practice, the more and more you work with them, the better you will get. So study hard and good luck on your upcoming test.